Let me now introduce my guest of the hour. I'm being joined by Adnan Kaisar, who is a foreign affairs expert. He joins me from Rawalpindi. Welcome to the broadcast, sir.
Thank you very much for having me, and good afternoon to all your viewers.
Right, sir. Now, before we dive into the many political figures taking centre stage in this election, I want to ask you, there have been blasts, security concerns, mobile services suspended. In fact, one security personnel has been killed. That's the latest information. What's the situation on ground right now?
So, first of all, I was at one of your programs yesterday, and I was comparing the acts of terror which we had witnessed in the previous elections as of 2013, 2018. So the spike was much higher at that time, and fortunately, this time we are witnessing very little acts of terror. So this is one blessing. The most of the country has been spared from this terrorism, and except for the peripheral areas in Balochistan as well as in KPK. So the rest of country has been spared. So I don't think the Pakistani people are going to be deterred by this menace of terrorism, and they're going to cast their votes out as part of their political process. As far as the blockage of internet is concerned, I have been checking my sources, and I have found out that there had been only a partial blockage.
Right.
I am sitting in Rawalpindi and Islamabad. We don't have any internet suspension.
Right, so now within the Pakistani media, there is an interesting quote making headlines. This is not an election, but a selection. Now, this raises questions about the fairness of the process. Claims of rigging have been made by some of the political parties. What's your take?
Well, first of all, you have to understand the dynamics of Pakistan's politics. Unfortunately, we could not evolve a stable or a sustainable political system since our creation, as if we compare to other countries. So Pakistan is still a democracy or a political process in evolution. So, there has to be some constraints and which need to be kept in mind. And I have written a lot of papers on this subject as well. And just to justify, because on this allegations of rigging, there has to be, if we go back to President Ayub Khan, he had said that the Westminster model of democracy or a parliamentary system does not suit the genius of Pakistan. So in that backdrop, there had been some control, I agree, but by and large, people have been allowed to cast their votes and choose their candidates of their choice. Apart from that, there has been some control. We have seen that because of some background acts, 2/3 majority is not allowed to be given to any particular party. Prime ministers have not been allowed to complete their 5-year terms, and there is a background because of that.
Mr. Kaisar, there is also prediction that Nawaz Sharif's Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz will likely emerge as the single largest party. What's your take on the same?
I am not very hopeful about that because, he has been tried and discredited by the people of Pakistan as well as the judiciary. So I do not know what's going to come up. I was expecting Bilawal Bhutto this time to be given some kind of a role to steer this national government because this time more and more people from are taking part in the candidates are taking part in the election as independent. So independents, they can be lured very easily through promises, money, if you will, and so they can put their weight behind Bilawal Bhutto. But obviously, we cannot discard Nawaz Sharif. He had been a seasoned politician. He can fetch a lot of international money from Middle Eastern countries, and he can sustain the economy. This is disregard the fact that under his leadership, Pakistan could not come up and stood on its own feet for the past almost 3 decades.
Right. The final question, since we're talking about political figures, let's talk about the one behind bars. Pakistan is going to polls with the opposition in jail. Imran Khan remains a popular face still. Will that have any impact on the elections? As we understand, he has voted.
Yes, obviously there is going to be because you see the pre-poll platform was not given equivalent to all the political parties. There had been concerns about terrorism as well. So there had been a lackluster campaign, and these political leaders had been behind the bars, and because of which, obviously, the results are going to be affected. But I do not know because there are so many dynamics in this election process. What is going to be? I can foresee a hung parliament again in this, and then there would be some twists and turns, and then some consensus political leader would come up as a prime minister of Pakistan.
Mr. Kaisar, thank you so much for all your inputs. Thanks for joining us on WION World is One.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.